Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Learning Blast. Hang on, we got some awesome graphics here. Look at that. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Learning Blast presented by the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. If I haven't met you, my name is Pete Blank. Thank you for joining us today. Just kind of going to try to share some information that we can today about this particular topic, which we'll get to in a second. But first, I want to remind you, this is interactive. This is 100% interactive. If you're watching the recorded version, it's not. But if you're on Facebook Live right now or LinkedIn Live right now, please go ahead and comment for me as you are watching. You can put some comments right there live on Facebook. You can also put them right there on LinkedIn so I can see who's watching, what's happening, and get some information from everybody regarding I'm going to ask you some questions today and see what your take is on a couple of these instances, as well as specifically as it relates to our topic today, which is going to be employee work passion. Employee work passion. So here's what this means. There was a study done by the Employee Work Passion Company, did it in tandem with my friends at Training Mag Network. So shout out there to Lori Freifeld and all my friends at Training Magazine Network. And this article came out after their research about, I think it's dated July. So, a little less than a month ago. And it says employee work passion drops dramatically in the COVID-19 era. Well, this shouldn't shock any of us, but hopefully it's going to give you some information and some tips on what we should be doing as leaders as we go ahead and build this out, this whole content for people to understand how to be there. Hey, look at my buddy Marie. She's multitasking today. Thank you. I love having two screens, Marie. One over here watching, one over here doing my email, and maybe take a few notes as you go. Thank you for just being part of this today. Donnie's joining us today. Hey, Donnie, good to see you. Hopefully we're going to help you get your employees engaged and motivated and excited today as well. So basically, here's what happened. Let me go through some of this with you. They did two studies, one in the year 2012, and then, these longitudinal studies where I think that could be the wrong word, but it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, where you come out and do the same study 9 or 10 years later. And for this most recent study, you'll see here, little heavy on the females 68%, males 32%, a lot of baby boomers, not as much Gen X and Gen Y, but a lot of supervisors and managers and C-level people that got involved in this survey. So rather than kind of waiting to kind of figure out what's going on, let's get into it. There's not 10, there's not 11, there were 12 subscales that they asked people to rate on based on 2012 versus 2021. So we're going to have 12 things that we're going to go over that hopefully you can take a look at and figure out how this relates to where you're working, whether you're in public safety, whether you're in police, fire, maybe you're in the private sector, public sector, for-profit, wherever it may be. So let's go over these. The first ones are going to be called organizational dimensions. Organizational dimensions. Now take a look at your lines there. Your looks like aqua blue on mine, perhaps. Maybe it's more of a blue-green on yours. That's the numbers from 2012. And then in the orange is the numbers from the 2021, the most recent survey from this group. Now, what organizational dimensions are, let me make sure that I get this phrasing right. These are the attributes that are influenced by the organization's senior leadership strategies, policies, procedures, and systems. So when you're being asked about passionate work and do you love your job and do you love where you work, some of these questions and statements were around the organizational structure, the hierarchy. I work in government, so I live in the world of processes, procedures, things like that. And you can see that everything went down. Everything went down 9 years later. And again, COVID is, I'll keep saying this, there's a lot of things that happened with COVID and hybrid work and things like that, but we can't use that as a crutch, as an excuse as leaders to say, oh, that's just the way it is. So employees felt that their growth went down. Growth means, do I perceive that the organization fosters opportunity for my career growth? Okay. Procedural fairness went down, which is, do employees perceive decisions as being fair and equitable with equal application of the rules to everyone? So you all know I work in local government here at the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. And this is one of the big things for us as employees are always saying, are the rules and regulations fair and equitable? Is it being applied to everybody the same way? And what a big drop there. Almost a 2-point drop, over a 2-point drop of people thinking that the systems in place by upper leadership is fair. So why do you think that is? If you want to comment, I've got a couple ideas. Because imagine, and you all know what happened back in 2012, most people are working in an office environment with an office culture in person. 2020, 2021, we get into the hybrid environment. Some people get to work from home. Some people don't. Some people are on FMLA. Some people aren't. So I think a lot of this is making people think that the procedural fairness may not be there. Does this relate on who you know or what you know, or how can you get what you want as opposed to a fair and equitable outcome for everybody? Then there's distributive fairness. Now, this is a good one too, which is, and you can see the huge 2-point drop here. Employees perceive an equal input to output ratio of effort to reward. Hey, I'm busting my butt. I'm doing better than the person next to me, but I'm getting nothing for that. In fact, this person is working remote, hybrid. We don't know what they're doing. They're slacking off. They're taking, but yet they're not being punished. So I'm not being rewarded for my great work. They're not being so there's no distributive say that a million times. Distributive fairness going out there. Interestingly enough, though, look at your performance expectations. And let me go and see if I can make that full screen for you. Yeah, that's actually didn't go down that far. Employees perceive that work outcomes need a certain level of quality and quantity. So interestingly enough, we know what work has to be done. We know the work that needs to be completed. We know what's actually happening out there, but we're a little unsure of if we want to do it. So which of these organizational dimensions do you hear employees voicing concerns about at your work? Let me pull it a little bit bigger again here for you. Oh, let's see. Hold on. We're working the StreamYard today, so we got to make sure that I get this. Let's see. So let's go to this one instead. Take me out of there. Okay, so there you go. So do you have employees at your work who are saying things like, yeah, I'm not getting any growth. This past year, I don't have passion because nobody's letting me grow, develop, become better. Yeah, the procedural fairness has become a joke. There's all types of special clubs and special cliques and special groups, and leaders at the top aren't giving us what we need from a fairness perspective. And plus, when I do a good job, when I do a good job, that changes everything because I don't feel like I'm being rewarded for it. But I know what I'm supposed to do. To do any of these, again, if you want to comment as you're watching here, either on Facebook or on LinkedIn, love to see what you all think. Which of these are you seeing right now in your work location? Okay, let's go to the next one, which are relationships. So first it was the organizational dimensions. Now we're talking about something a little bit different, which is the relationship dimensions. An individual's perception of their relationship with their leader and their colleagues. Is there collaboration? Is it encouraged? Is there feedback? Let me bring this a little bit larger up here too, so you can see how these numbers just got, we got crushed. This survey just crushed me as a leader, saying, man, we have just sort of dropped the ball on a lot of things during the COVID era and post-COVID era. So let's talk about collaboration. 2.5 points going down there. Employees perceive that there's cooperation and teamwork in a work unit. Well, of course, this number is going to go down. Hybrid has changed everything. Remote work has changed everything. Lack of staffing has changed everything. So no, I don't feel like we're collaborating. We have Zoom meetings and the Zoom meetings stink, and we try to use Slack and we try to use this, but with this new model of work, I don't feel like we're collaborating. That's why my passion could be down. It's possible. How about feedback? Feedback went down there as well. Employees want an environment where they receive timely, relevant, and specific feedback. Again, we, as a leadership development training staff, we're constantly leading training classes. Giving and receiving feedback is one of our big classes where we talk about the importance of the open and honest and transparent feedback. Connection with the leader has gone down. What's that? 2.2 points from 2012 to 2021. No surprise. Again, I hate to feel like I'm just being this. We all now don't get me wrong. Some of you who are watching are going, Pete, I work in public safety, or I work in an environment that was healthcare or medical. We were never allowed to go remote. We were never allowed to do any of those things, but still the connection with the leader is low. So some of us are going to blame the hybrid environment, the remote environment. I think some of this may also be, in my opinion, that staffing is so tough right now. You may have more leaders and supervisors and managers having to jump in and take frontline roles. So their job of coaching, developing, mentoring, being supportive, having a personal relationship, that could have been part of the hit. Also, all the managers and leaders are going to have personal issues. They got family issues. They've got things going on. A lot of baby boomers were listed in this group. So there could be an elderly parent, elderly grandparent. I'm taking care of different generations in that. So that as a leader, I'm not making those connections with my employees because of life situations. It's possible. It's possible. And then the connection with the colleagues. Again, even if I'm remote, this could be an issue. But even if I'm not remote, even if I work in an environment, why is my connection with colleagues down? Why are we not having any interaction? I think a lot of that stuff was cut during COVID. Things we used to do, get-togethers. Because I remember here where I work, we used to say things like, hey, let's get together and have a hot dog lunch where we'll bring in the George Foreman grill, and well, Pete, don't do that because people don't want to be in the same room having that. And so, hey, let's do this thing where we all go out to happy hour. Some people don't feel comfortable going outside, and all these things kind of came out of that. So when you look at these numbers that everything's dropping, yes, it kind of makes sense. Let me throw this up there. Which of these 4 relationship dimensions are important for you? So when you think about yourself and yourself as a worker, yourself as an employee, not as a supervisor, not as a leader, just as an employee, when you look at these, do you think, yeah, I need collaboration, or I need feedback, or I need connection with my leader or connection with my colleagues? I do an employee engagement training where I do what I call the jobs model, which is something that I sort of created. Love your job, love your organization, love your boss, and love your squad. Well, when you talk about love your boss and love your squad, that's the connection with the leader and the connection with the colleagues. That's an important part of employee engagement, employee passion that's out there. All right, let's go to the next one, which is the final one, which is job dimensions. So we talked about organizational dimensions, relationship dimensions. Now the author's talking about job dimensions. And as you can see here, job dimensions also kind of got hit. Autonomy, meaningful work, task variety, and workload balance are what they're looking for. So autonomy, we've been talking autonomy ever since Daniel Pink came out with his book Drive. I don't even know what, it's got to be over 10 years ago. Daniel Pink's a motivational expert. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Did some research years ago that said if you can have employees who have autonomy, then get better at their job's mastery, and then have a purpose, a reason for being there, the meaningful work, the next one, they're going to be engaged, motivated, inspired at work. So what you're seeing here is that when it comes to autonomy, people feel like they're not getting it. They're not allowed to be autonomous anymore. Part of that could be because hybrid, because I want to micromanage you because you're here, because you're there, or it could be budget issues, could be that I got to watch you because it could be all kinds of things. Meaningful work dropping over 2 points. Again, the COVID catastrophe made many of us sit back and re-engage ourselves with what do we want to do. And this is what happened with the workforce, where a lot of people stopped working or went part-time or did different things, and then realized, why am I doing this work where it adds no value? I don't feel it's exciting. I don't want to do this. It's not paid that much. So I'm not going to go back and do it. So you can see people are looking for meaningful work. They need that for passion. And if they don't feel that, those numbers are going to drop. So some people feel like the jobs they have still aren't meaningful. Task variety, the extent to which employees perceive that the work they do is different enough to meet their motivational needs. Now, this one surprised me that this one dropped, because I would think, again, for hybrid workers and for what we had to do over the past 3 years and jump in and help over here. And I need you over here. I'm going to change your tasks over here because we're understaffed. Can you try this? Can you try that? All these different things are happening. So I would think that the task variety would go up, that people would be saying, man, they're asking me to do a million more things these days than I ever used to. But it's not. So I can't wrap my head around that one. And workload balance, that's fine. The extent to which employees perceive their workload is proportioned to the amount of time they have to do it. We know that went down a little bit. We always think that we're doing more with less. But again, with meaningful work dropping over 2 points and task variety dropping over 2 points, I wonder what y'all think. I wonder what you think about that. And if you think that that's something that you as a leader, supervisor, manager can think about for your workplace, for your employees. Are you doing that for them? So then it comes back to the 5 intentions. So after the research finished that, now they came back and said, okay, these are the 5 intentions, and these are an individual's intentions that are driven by their perceptions and the appraisals of their environment. Now, this is absolutely horrifying for all of us who are watching, for those of you in leadership, for those of you at the C-level and the C-suite, if you're watching this. Great research, again, by this employee engagement company and training magazine network to come back and say, okay, here we are 9 years later. Let's look at these 5 intentions, and I'll kind of walk you through these. The far left one, that sort of darkish blue, discretionary effort. So discretionary effort is the extent to which the individual intends to expend their discretionary effort above and beyond the agreed upon requirements. 12.1 to 8.5. Wow. Hey, I just want to meet expectations. Back in the day, I wanted to exceed and expend some discretionary effort. I kind of wanted to do that. But with all the stuff we're doing, with all the low staffing, with you not holding people accountable, with you not giving me autonomy, you know what? I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to give above and beyond. That's horrifying for us as leaders, as we want people to be passionate and excited about their jobs, but they're not going to do anything. It's gotten worse to go above and beyond. The next one really bothers me, the intent to endorse. That's sort of the aqua green there one. The extent to which the individual endorses the organization as a good place to work, a good quality supplier, a good quality connection. Hey, would you work there? Absolutely. Recommend it to people. Drop 4 points. I am not going to endorse this place. It is not a good place to work. Okay. Then ironically, though, look at the intent to remain. It dropped from 10.5, the green one, to 8.1. So it only dropped 2 points, not 4 points. But what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Hey, I'm not going to give any discretionary effort. Hey, I'm not going to tell people this is a good place to work and endorse it. Well, are you going to stay? Oh, yeah, I'm staying. That didn't go down as far. It's not like people. So that's even worse. Now you've got your actively disengaged employees who aren't telling people it's good. So yeah, the fact that went down too, but didn't go down as much is concerning. Intent to perform. Am I going to do my job well and help the organization succeed? 4-point drop. And then look at the last one, which is citizenship behaviors. I'm committed to supporting my fellow workers and behaving in ways that are respectful, considerate, and sensitive. I'm just looking out for number 1 right now. That dropped. That's not as important to me. Wow. So again, passion is down, effort is down. No one's endorsing your place to work. It's not very exciting, but we're staying. We're staying for a while. Again, this is not something about intent to quit. This whole study is based on work passion in the workplace, the how you feel about going to work every day. So here's the top 4 of all those. What was it, 4, 8, 12 that we talked about? Meaningful work. The top 4, and again, in green, they go way off the screen. So I had to actually bring it back a little bit. But meaningful work, opportunities for growth, autonomy, and distributive fairness. It's fun to say, distributive fairness. I had problems with that last time. Those are most important. So if you take anything out of today's Lunchtime Learning Blast, if you're a leader, supervisor, manager, individual contributor, thinking about doing some good things that are going to motivate and inspire, are you reminding your employees of the meaningful work, of the growth opportunities? Are you letting them be autonomous and not micromanaging them? And is it fair? Are you holding others accountable? If they're going above and beyond and doing good work, is the work that they do being rewarded? Are they being told thank you? Are they maybe getting monetary rewards or gift cards or things like that are being distributed equally? Just something to think about. Now, like I mentioned, let me pull this banner down. Hold on. Let me pull this banner. Brand. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Another study just came out a couple months ago from McKinsey and Company about people who quit jobs. What are the top reasons for quitting? So again, a different study. One's about employee passion. One's about employees quitting. But take a look at the number one reason for quitting was lack of career development and advancement. So again, yes, compensation is up there, and uncaring and uninspiring leaders ties into what we talked about. Lack of meaningful work ties into what we just talked about, not meeting the expectations or whatever, not enough people, all of that. So again, this is different. One's quitting, one's passion, but develop me, engage me, make me want to be here, all of these things. Because if they're not passionate, they're going to move to this area, which is quitting. A couple things real quick as we, thank you for hanging with us today. If you're just joining us, Personnel Board of Jefferson County, Lunchtime Learning Blast. It's been about 20 minutes so far. We'll try and wrap up in another 8 minutes or so, but this should be hopefully something that you can think about, take back to your manager, show it a manager team meeting, show it a C-level meeting, show them, and I'll tell you where this actual article is later so you can go back and read the whole thing. They also asked the people, so if these four, they asked all of the survey people, if these four, meaningful work, growth opportunity, autonomy, and distributive fairness, are important to us, who's responsible for doing this? Who's responsible for owning it? Well, take a look at this. Interestingly enough, for meaningful work, almost 50% of the employees say, well, that's me. That's me. Okay. I know that I have to create an environment that finds meaning. Yes, maybe, a quarter for my leader and a quarter for senior management. But as a majority, it's definitely me. I know I've got to deal with that. What about autonomy? Now look at this. It's like a 50-50 almost. I want to own that, but my manager has to give it to me. So if my manager is not letting me be autonomous, I can't do it myself. So I can look for meaningful work and engage that on my own. But as far as autonomy, someone's got to release the reins and give me some creative growth and all of that to kind of go. So you can definitely take that in mind. How about the growth opportunities? They say this is a shared responsibility. I need to talk to my leader. My leader needs to talk to the CEOs, senior management. What are we doing? Everybody's kind of responsible for growth. But distributive fairness, most people think that's senior management. You all need to put rules, regulations, policies in place where everything is being done fair, equitable. There's no favoritism. There's no clicks. There's no backdoor. So yes, I can lead that communication. I can have that talk, but upper leadership, we need you. We need you to be the ones who are responsible for that. So here's your summary. And they use big words like regression analysis. I think I took one statistics class in my master's degree program, and I got a C. So when we started talking about standard deviations from the mean, I just fought through it. So they've done all the hard pushing for us. This group has done all the hard pushing, and what they've come back with is these are your top three. This is your big takeaway for today. Okay. These three dimensions have a high degree of correlation to successful organizations, and yet employees say, we're not seeing this. We're not seeing these in the organization, okay? Connection to colleagues is important, and I'm not getting the opportunity to connect with my colleagues. Feedback is important, and I'm not seeing my manager give me feedback, or there being open feedback, or two-way feedback, or peer-to-peer feedback. And procedural fairness is important, but I don't see that happening again in my organization. So those are the three that you really, really are going to want to work on. As far as connectedness with colleagues, if that's so important, talk to somebody about it. If you're working in a hybrid or an in-person or a back and forth, let your managers know. I know everyone's still a little bit afraid of COVID. Everything's still out there. People are still, wearing the mask and washing their hands. But it's okay to say, I think it's time for us to get back together. I think we need to join some groups and make some committees and get together. Can there be some lunch events or happy hours? We're doing something this Friday where we're all going to ride a city bus down to a restaurant, have lunch, and ride the city bus back. About 15 of us are going to do that. And for some of us here in Alabama, this is the first time ever on a city bus. So it's exciting and it's fun. And so can we create that connection with the colleagues? Second thing is feedback. Is that available? When individuals receive meaningful, effective feedback in a non-threatening way, say the authors, they're more highly motivated, they find greater satisfaction in their work, and their performance goes up. So that's both positive and constructive feedback. You've got to do both of those. And the procedural fairness part, again, usually, and this is what the author says, an employee's perceptions of the procedural fairness focuses on their policies and procedures rather than a specific individual or leader. However, how the leader rolls out those policies and procedures also affects how they see it. So there's two roads to go down here, as you see in the unsplash photo there. So which way do you go down? Which is the right way? Can you change a policy, change a procedure? What's the one thing people are complaining most about that they say is unfair? Just have that as a topic starter. What do you view as unfair in this organization? And see what we can do about it. Maybe we can't do anything. Maybe we can do a few things. So connectedness, feedback, and procedural fairness. The conclusion of the study says, while many individuals appreciate working from home, this isolation has happened for a lot of employees. Okay. And the data that they just found in this study points to a loss of community and potentially less access to information, more stress, more uncertainty. As a leader, this is a simple one. All you have to do is figure out, how can I create more collaboration with my colleagues? How can I coach my managers to be open and honest with feedback? And how can we connect with leaders and things like that to kind of help out? So again, thank you to Training Magazine. Thank you to the Employee Work Passion Company, their website, the employeeworkpassioncompany.com. Training Magazine is just trainingmagazine.com. You can Google search the title of the article. The article's right there. Employee work passion drops dramatically in the COVID-19 era. Screenshot that, do it. It's about a 12-page article with a lot of good information to help us as leaders and as managers and as supervisors and as employees to be the best we can possibly be. Hey, thanks for joining us today on this Lunchtime Learning Blast. I really appreciate those of you who are commenting, those of you who are watching. EJ, thank you, buddy. I got an email from EJ. We're going to connect this week. So thank you, EJ. Go out and do some of these things. Read that article. And let's go out and try and get passion to be raised back up in the workplace again. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Follow us on Facebook, Personnel Board of Jefferson County Facebook page. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. All of these things are recorded. They're saved there. And even if you're not a local government employee, you're welcome to be a member of our Facebook page as we put up learning content constantly. Personnel Board of Jefferson County, Facebook, and again on LinkedIn Live on my sites as well. Appreciate you all. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Donnie. Realistic. Yeah, we know that's the hardest part. Doesn't matter what the data says. Is it realistic and can we do anything about it? So appreciate you all. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.